Schoolcraft community. This is Mark again, coming to you with some quick tips for your tech needs and such as we are in our distance learning time here. It is, while I'm recording this, Thursday afternoon. We have a long weekend ahead of us, and we've made it through the first 2 weeks of distance education. I know it's been stressful for some. It's been a change. And I do know it's going to get easier. It's going to get better. We're going to find our rhythm here, and you guys are doing awesome. Keep communicating with us if you have needs or if you have any issues. We are here to help. And then we just also, I think, need to remember to have patience for everybody, going all sides. I'm sure we'll be changing some things. Teachers will be adjusting some things as we go along here, as we learn how to do this brand new thing that we have undertaken. And we're working out kinks. And very soon, I think we are going to have a good stride going. And we're just going to be cruising with this, almost feeling like it's how we've always done it. But of course, we are excited and anxious for the day we'll all be back together at Schoolcraft in our building, seeing each other every day. I know I've been calling these quick tips, and they usually go about 7 to 10 minutes, so I guess quick is relative, but do want to be getting some info out as we're learning things. We're seeing where people are struggling, figuring out little bits that seem like they would be useful to know. So I want to run through a bunch of these here today. We're going to be looking at some different things working in a web browser. Most of this will be pertaining to working on kind of a computer format. I'm going to be using a Chromebook, but a lot of this will be universal. If you're using a MacBook, if you're using a PC, a laptop, a desktop, a lot of tablets or things, pretty much all will have these functionalities. It might look a little bit different on your side. The first tip I want to give you is with any of these things, you can learn so much from a quick Google search. If you're not sure how to do anything, just type that in. And when you're doing that, I would suggest to be specific. How do I do this in this? How do I do this on a MacBook? How do I do this on an iPad? How do I do this on an Android phone? Whatever it might be, to try to narrow it down. I'm sure you're not the first person to have that problem, and I think that in a lot of cases, Google will give you some quick answers and get you on your way. So again, I'll be using a Chromebook. Looking through students that are using Chromebooks, you're going to see things a lot similar in yours. At home, if you're using that, or even if you are just logged into Chrome on a web browser on your PC or your MacBook, you're going to have a lot of these same things. If you're curious about logging into Chrome, check out my previous video where I went through how to log into Chrome and why we recommend logging into Chrome. So, the first thing we're going to do is we've got our web browser here, got schoolcraft.com, and we're going to go to Google Classroom. So right now I'm logged into a generic account for testing different things that's set up like a 4th and 5th grader, kind of hitting right in the middle. So we are going to look through a little bit of Google Classroom, and some of these features or things I'll do will also be useful if you are in a younger grade level using Seesaw. But here in Google Classroom, so you see this is your main page. Okay, it shows all the classes. Your kids will probably have more classes, maybe a homeroom, PE, a math class. This is where you're going to see all of that. When we're going through here, right off the bat on this page, we can see some due dates. We can see in this button here, we can jump to our classes. And I want to look first at our to-do list. Now, parents, this is something I want you to know. If you're wondering what your kids need to be doing, what they've gotten done, ask them to show you the to-do list, okay? Now, this student that we've added into Kendra's class has not done any work. So hopefully your student stuff doesn't look like this. You see all of these due dates. But in the to-do list, we'll list all the assignments. This is under missing, so these are past due. Due Tuesday, so coming up, due April 16th, and it breaks it down by due date. You'll also notice different colors here. I've got some pink and some gray, and if I look back here, that corresponds with two different classes that I'm in, Kendra's homeroom and Kendra's 4th grade. So you can quickly see what's due where. You can also look at the done list and see what work is done, see what's been getting done. And you can sort this out by classes. So I could jump directly to math, or I could look at all classes. Quick way to sort it out, to see what needs to be done, see what has been done, see what's coming down the road. Now if we look back over here, we can also go to calendar, and all the classes automatically generate a calendar. So we can see assignments, and again, they are color coded. Can jump ahead. And just like in the other spot, I can do all classes, or I can look at individual classes. On this, we also have our settings. Settings can be important. This is a place where you can turn on and off different notifications. But let's go back to our classes. Let's jump into math. Okay, so when you get into the classroom, this is what the students will be seeing. You've got three main spots on top: your stream, your classwork, and your people. People is going to show who's in the class. You've got your classmates, and you've got teachers that have been set up. Classwork, this is going to break down all of the work for the class. This is a very important part here. Stream, what this is going to do is teachers can post messages and things on here. This can work as a bit of a catch-all in the stream. If you are sitting down with your student and you want to see what type of work they have coming up, what they need to do today, what they need to do tomorrow, I strongly suggest that you pay attention to the to-do list over here. Take a look, this quick little box, upcoming, what's coming up down the road. Or take a look at the classroom. So if we look in here, there's also topic areas. So Ken just broke this down with her data analysis and graphing. We've got an intro video here, and there's some resources down here. I can jump and look directly at the data analysis, directly at the resources, or at all topics, just by using my little bit on the side there. So when we're in an assignment, a few things to look at. I'm going to click this. It gives a preview of the assignment. I always recommend get into the full view of the assignment. You're going to have some instructions here. Your work, a lot of these assignments might automatically have a document that is ready to go for your student. And this turn in button, this is super important. It's not going to show as being done until you click that turn in button. Let's take a look at something here. Graphing your data. This has a few things in it. So, I've got a YouTube video. I've got some instructions. And in my work, I do also have looks like a Google Sheets document to work on. So, when I'm in here, here's a very important tip. Pass this on to your kids. Read the directions. Read them twice. If there's a video here making simple bar graphs, watch it. Pay attention. You can always go back and watch it again. Something I would recommend that you are telling your students as you're encouraging them, if they aren't sure what to do, ask them to show you the assignment. Ask them, have you read the directions? Okay, let's read them together. That's going to be some of the most important information. And a lot of times I see with students, they didn't really read the directions. They just jumped right on ahead. So here I'd read through these directions, open up the video, watch making simple bar graphs, go back. I'm going to go into my work so I can complete the work that was assigned. And while I'm at this point, I want to show you how to split your screen. Because I might be in here in Google Sheets to do my work, and over here are some directions. This is some pretty simple directions, but if it was not so simple, I might want to be able to see those directions while I'm doing my work. You've got tabs across the top here. If I grab one and I click down on it and drag it out, see it separates itself. Now I have two different windows. I can grab the corners and I can resize these windows, and I can make them both fit on my screen. Now I can look at these directions, watch the video, which I did, create a graph using data collection. So I could follow those directions to build my graph over here. Make sure you have title, labels, measurement, and your data is accurately represented. So I could do all my work there while looking at my directions. If I want to bring these back together, I just slide that right back up into my tabs. And I can make this nice and big again here. Now, depending on how they're set up, some of these assignments, when it does open up, a Google Sheet like this might have a turn in button at the top here where your students can turn in their work. If it doesn't have that, you want to make sure that they are clicking the turn in button. I've seen these on several assignments where students will say, I did the work, but it's showing up as missing. Always double check. Did you click turn in? Make sure you click the turn in button. Okay, we're gonna move on. Just a quick refresher. We have our classroom. Check out the to-do list. What's coming up? Check out your classwork. Where you're at, get a good idea of it. Open up your assignments, read all the directions. Make sure you hit the turn in button when you're done. Two more things I want to show you in here is there may be something that you need to add. They ask you to add a picture, or you have another Google Doc or something to bring in. In Google Classroom, you'd hit the add or create button. Here you can do a link. So that's copying any web page link. You can go directly to your Google Drive. You can click File, and that will upload from your device. Or you can create a new doc, slides, or sheets. That'll attach that in to your assignment right there in the class. Hit turn in, and that'll send that on to your teacher. When we're in this, and whether it's Google Classroom, it's Seesaw, or anything else, I want to stress that communication is key. If you're not understanding the directions, ask your teachers. They are here to help. A couple of key ways, if your students are in 4th through 8th grade, they do have email turned on where they can send emails to their teachers. Again, they can only send or receive from staff at Schoolcraft, but that's a great way to get in touch and ask those questions. You'll notice here in the classroom, there's a private comments. This will send a comment to the teacher. Only the teacher and this student will see, to ask questions about the assignment. And these will show up right in here. If you're having just a little bit of trouble, a great way to get some quick information. Also, all of the teachers have office hours. If you don't know when your teacher's office hours are, find out. Those are times where they are available via video conferencing on Zoom meetings, and they are there to help. Your students can pop into a Zoom meeting, ask their questions, get some help, even if it's just clarifying something and it'll take a minute. That's perfect. Use those times. Communicating is key as we're all separated by a distance. We can get a lot done through just some good communication, staying on the same page. Now I do want to pop into Google Drive. If you're logged into Google, you can hit the apps here, and Drive is this one right here. Now, your students' Google Drive, we'll explain in a bit kind of what Drive is, but one thing I want to show you in here is they do have a classroom folder. This classroom folder is going to automatically have a folder for every class. Any of this work that you're doing, like this 4 or 5 test data sheet, is going to show up in here. So this is a place students can come and they can access their work without going through Google Classroom if they need. Now, Google Drive, I'm going to pull over a little tool here to do some quick describing. Google Drive is sort of the hub for all things Google. So you might hear talk about Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides. These are similar to, you might be more familiar with maybe Microsoft Office products. Office is kind of like Drive. And within Microsoft Office, you have Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, PowerPoint. Very similar tools are in Google Drive. Docs is like a Microsoft Word. Sheets is like an Excel. Slides is like a PowerPoint. And all of these live kind of under the umbrella of Google Drive. So we have our Docs, Sheets, Slides, and these are just a few of the tools that live in there. But pretty much everything, when we talk about G Suite or Google Apps for Education, it all lives under Google Drive, and that is the hub where everything gets stored, everything can be accessed, things can be shared through there. So when we're referring to Google Drive, that's what we're talking about. I know that can be confusing for people sometimes. So also wanted to clarify that. That is what Google Drive is. All right, we're going to keep moving on here. I want to do some kind of quick troubleshooting tips when you're working. We have here tabs. These are all different tabs. And we have windows. This is a window. If I separate a tab out, I have multiple windows. If you're having times where your computer seems to be lagging, especially if you're doing a Zoom meeting and it's getting a little glitchy, you might have too many tabs and windows open. Every one that is open is doing some processing and is taking up some of the power of the computer. The less you have open, the better it's going to process, the smoother, the cleaner, and faster your machine is going to run. So try to minimize those, especially when you're doing full crew Zoom meetings. You got to think about with those Zoom meetings, you might have 20 live videos that are streaming on your screen at once, and that is a lot for the computer to process. And if it also has a lot of tabs and windows going, it's going to get tired fast. And it might start getting buggy, it might start getting glitchy. So keep those tabs and windows to a minimum. Before you do a Zoom meeting, I'd suggest closing as many tabs and other programs as you can before you launch that Zoom meeting. This is a very common issue with things slowing down, things not working quite right. Another tip, when you're working in Chrome, Chromebook, or anything else using Chrome, if there's just weird little bugs, something is not acting right, it just seems like it's catching on things. Sometimes what will happen is your cache and cookies is really full. You don't really need to know what cache and cookies are. Basically, they're just little bits of information and data that are stored to help your browsing experience be better. If you leave a page and come back, it remembers that you were signed in there. If you do a Google search at some point and you're doing some research, you click a couple links and you leave, you come back and do that search again, and you notice some of those links are purple, not blue, because you already visited them. That's just the cookies and the cache remembering some things you've done. But that can build up and that can clog up the system. So I want to show you how to clear that out. These three dots are your main menu in Chrome. We come down to More Tools and Clear Browsing Data. We'll get a little pop-up like this. Now, cookies and cache, that's what we're looking for. This isn't going to delete anything vital on your computer. It's just going to kind of give it a little refresh for all time, get rid of it all, and then you're going to hit Clear Data. And what that's going to do is that's going to just clean it all up. There might be some sites that you were signed into. It'll just ask you to sign in again. But the main memory and everything is still there. Nothing's been lost. It just cleans things up. That's a good first step if anything is catching and anything's being crazy. Now, another thing you might want to do, it's joked about a lot, but try turning it off and turning it back on again. Computers get a little bogged down if they never get a break. when they go to sleep, that's nice, but a computer regularly needs to be completely turned off and turned back on. Gives it a little bit of a kick in the pants. Now, if you have a Chromebook, a trick that works, it's kind of like the cookies and cache, where it's a catch-all fix. Something's being quirky, don't quite know what it is, you can try that. Try the cookies and cache and try our reset on the Chromebook. I'm going to bring over my little sketch pad here to show you, because to reset a Chromebook, it's really simple. You don't lose any information. It turns it off and on, back on really quick in a way that kicks it in the pants. You push your power button. That might be different on different things. If it's a key, it often has kind of a circle with a little line in it. You'll see that as a power button on many things. Or might just be a small button on the side. And then push the refresh button. Push them both at the same time. The refresh button looks like a circle with an arrow. See if I can draw that a little better. This is all freehand here, everybody. That's a little more like it. That's going to be on the top row of your keyboard. Again, on a Chromebook, a quick reset, pressing the power button, which is a circle with a little line, and the refresh, which is a circle with an arrow on it. At the same time, it'll turn your Chromebook off, turn it back on, you sign back in, and very often that will cure a lot of the little bits of troubles. Okay. One more thing before we go. We're almost done. If you have a hotspot in your house that you're using for internet, or this even goes for Wi-Fi, I want to go over really quick how some of this works. Because often we'll have issues with poor connections in homes. So I've got a little sketch here. As you can tell, my brother is an architect, not me. We have a house. This is my little floor plan of the house. Let me do something here so you can see what I'm doing a little better. This is our house. We've got a living room, front door, dining room, kitchen, bathroom, and a bedroom. If you are using a hotspot for internet at home, it's important to remember a couple things. First off, how that hotspot works. What a hotspot does is a hotspot takes information. Say we've got a cell phone tower that's somewhere out. It's got a little satellite dish on it, and it is beaming out that cell signal. Your hotspot is a small device that takes that cell signal, picks it up, and then retransmits it out as a Wi-Fi signal. So you get your little Wi-Fi signal from that. Now, you may have really strong signal from your hotspot, but your internet might be pretty poor. What's happening there is the hotspot itself doesn't have a real strong connection. So you want to make sure your hotspot is in the exterior walls of your house, not tucked away in the middle. This isn't where you want to be. You don't want to be down in the basement. You don't want to be anywhere where it's not able to get a good signal. Something you could try, some of them will have a little signal on them, so you can see what the signal it's picking up is, or walk around with your phone. See where you have the best signal. Where you have the best signal is where you want your hotspot. Most often that's going to be on your exterior walls and by windows, which I've got little blue windows here. So this would be a good spot. This would be a good spot. This, and this would be great spots for a hotspot. One side of your house might be better than the other, just depending on where that tower is. Experiment. Find that good spot. Make sure the hotspot's getting good signal, and you will have much better internet access in your house. Now, Wi-Fi issues. Wi-Fi is kind of similar, except you're not getting your Wi-Fi from a tower. You're hardwired in to the internet. So with that, what you want to keep in mind is the further you are from your wireless router, the worse signal you're going to get and the worse internet you're going to have. Walls are bad. We have walls in our houses. We got to deal with them. So the best thing you can do is find a central location for your wireless router, and if anything, closer to the areas where you're going to be doing most of the work. If your wireless router is in the top level of a 2-story house, the basement's not going to be a good spot to be doing some internet intensive work. So keep that in mind. Proximity to your router is important. And if you've got a hotspot, make sure your hotspot is in a place where it is getting good cellular signal. Now, I think that's enough. That's all I wanted to cover today. In parting, do want to remind you, if you go to our website, schoolcraft.org, we do have a tech help spot, has some information. This video and others and other bits of help are there. If you go to explore, it's right here at tech help. Also in our COVID-19 page, this is a great spot to come to get some resources during this time of distance education. You can go right here, head to our tech page, different tips. You can submit help requests right here. And you can also email helpdesk@schoolcraft.org. That's right on the bottom here. Hope you all have a great weekend. The snow is already melting. It's going to feel like spring again in just a couple hours. And look forward to getting back at it next week.